So what I was talking about? Okay. Okay, so I was talking about that you should know that how the code is running and so that you can modify that code. That is very much important. So there are plenty of codes available in the GitHub. You may have heard about that particular site. So you can take the piece of code from there and you can run it in your computer, and you can run for your data sets for that particular code. But for doing that, to do that, you should know what they have done and how you are going to modify that thing to get your result. Okay, so I think now you know how to use this ideally stuff, right? Any question?
So what is the difference between using Anaconda via Jupyter and ideally?
No. Yeah, so good question. So the difference is that here, see, you need one file to save that code, right? And you are getting the output in another cell, another window, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I am closing this thing and I'm going back to Anaconda distribution. So then it will be easier. Okay, now I'm going to this notebook. Okay, numbers.ipynb. So is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the difference is, suppose this is a cell and you want to add 2 plus 1. The same thing. You can do this in ideally also. But now I am running this through the Jupyter node. So you can check that there is an option run. So just click. You are getting the output on that same very platform. Okay.
Okay.
So that is the advantage. You don't need a separate window. You can check, you can modify accordingly.
Okay, sir.
Right. Now I am going to explain this portion because my aim is to complete today is up to what ideal is completed. How we can interact with Python code, I have already shown this. And now number, variable, and string. So these 3 parts I will try to complete today. Are you feeling bored? If so, so you can do one thing. You can run this code by your hand to some online IDE also. Online Python IDE for free. Okay. So see. Here also you can do the same job. And you can run this. So you are getting the output over here. Got it?
Yes, sir.
So that you can do it for the beginning because you don't how far you don't need to use to save these files. Okay, but if you need to save this file, so you cannot do from this website platform web browser. You need to install this program, Python program, to your computer. Otherwise, you cannot run that. Okay. So for the beginning, you can try this thing online, but in latter case, you should install Python program in your computer. Otherwise, you face problem. All right. So so these are the very basic things of computer programming. Any programming language, you will need to learn this kind of stuff. What are numbers and what are the different kinds of numbers? Because many times you need to add something, or you need to manipulate. You need to apply some calculation on your data set. So you should know about the types of number, that is integers and floating point numbers. I know that you already, all of you already know that thing, that integers are two types, that can be positive or negative. Floating point numbers should have negative symbol or positive symbol with decimal part. So 2.0 is floating point. Okay, remember that thing. So 2 is integer in case of programming language, and 2.0 is floating point. Okay. Now, using this Jupyter notebook, you can start some basic arithmetic, just like addition or subtraction or multiplication or division. You can do these things very easy. Okay, you are getting this thing, but this is something new. So earlier in division case, you got the result, exact result of division, that is 1.5. If you use some calculator, you will have this result. But what is that? 7//4, and you are getting 1. So if it was 7 divided by 4, so now how you can, one of you asked me that how we can use this Jupyter notebook. Now here you will find that one plus symbol. So you can click on this to insert some new cell. Okay, so you write something over here and run it. So you are getting that if you divide 7 by 4, so you are getting 1.75, but here you are getting 1 instead of 1.75. So that means it is not rounded off. If it is a rounded off answer, so it should be 2, isn't it? But it is giving only the integer part without rounding off. So that kind of division is known as floor division. Sometimes it is required, and that is a concept in programming, in Python programming, that is known as floor division. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So same as 8 by 3 and 8 floor division 3. So you are getting only 2. Okay. Next is if you want to the remainder part. So not the exact division part, but the remainder part. So what you will do? So for that there is another syntax, another command, that is modulo operator. Okay. So suppose you are writing 7, then percentage symbol, and then 4, and you run it. So you are getting 3. So that means if you divide it, you will get the remainder as 3, and it is showing that. So sometimes it is required that you don't want a divisible part, but you want to remainder part. So then you can apply this technique to get that thing. That's all. So there are different types of operators. These are the 2 operators, arithmetic operators used in Python, which are very useful. That's all. Okay. So you can do some more problem like powers. You can apply 2 star simultaneously, 2 to the power 3. Okay, just like you were telling that you calculate 2 to the power 3. So you can write 2 star 3, and it will give you 8. The same way you can find out the root of some number, like if you are calculating the root of 4, so you can apply this power formula. So 4 to the power 0.5, you will get the root. So these are very basic mathematics what you can do using Python code. So obviously, you know that there are certain precedence of this arithmetic operation. So I can also follow that, and you can use parentheses to specify that particular order, which operation will go first, and then which operation will. Well, then I have already informed that there is a concept of variable. Okay, so here that portion is explained, that how you can assign a variable. Okay, variable means what? What can vary? So that means in a programming, the variable is such a container that can store values and which can be changed time to time. Okay, so here in this example, see, it is written that a equals 5. Okay, so here they have created an object called a and assign it a number 5. That means here a is a variable, and variable and object are almost equally used here. So variable a or object a which store this value 5. Okay, now if you run this, so now you are printing a. It is not written print over here in Jupyter Notebook, but it is already there. Okay, so if you type a and run it, what you will get? You will get 5 as output. Okay, am I audible?
Sir, your voice
Yes,
is
sir.
breaking.
Okay, it is showing that my internet is not stable, and that's why. Now it is okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so in this scenario, you can see that we can store some value to a variable, and we can show that output also. But can we use this way? So can we write a on the right hand side? 5 equals a. Yes or no? What do you think?
Yes, sir.
Onik is saying that we can write
Yes,
5
sir.
equals b. But if you run this, check what will happen. This saying that can't assign to literal, and it is a syntax error. So think logically. Suppose you want to store some value. So suppose I am giving you 5 apple. Now I am telling you to store that thing in a bucket. So what you will do? You will take that apple and you will keep that on a container. That's the logic. But is it possible that you first take the bucket and store it to an apple, to those apple?
No.
No, sir.
No, sir. No, sir.
So that's why you cannot do this. So every time this variable should be in the left hand side, so that it is a convention. It is a general convention that you can store that values to the variable, not the variables to the value. So it is not possible. Okay. So similarly, you can add the objects. So if you run this, it will work, I guess. Yes, because 5a now contains 5, and 5 plus 5, it is 10. All right. Now you can reassign that thing. So now a was 5 here. Now we are reassigning that a as 10. All right. Now check that. So it is showing that 10. Now think logically that earlier this variable took 5, and now that particular variable a, I am not changing the variable name. The variable is same, a. Just I am saying that now you store 10. So I don't know, today this thing is very much problematic. Yesterday discussed, there was no such problem. Anyway, Is it visible? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what I was telling that we can reassign the value of the variable. Earlier it was 5 and now I am saying that you store 10 to that particular variable. So it is erasing that previous one, the 5 value, and now it is storing the 10 value. Okay, that's all. Now, okay. Now suppose I'm checking that A is 10. So now if I am adding those A plus A, so it is saying that it is 20, right? So it is very obvious. Now, do you have any question from here till now? Any question?
No, sir.
If you don't have any
No,
question,
sir.
tell me why this hash symbol is used here. Why this hash symbol is used here?
So the hash symbol prevents it from being a part of the code.
Right. Very good. So that means that is a comment part. Okay. That is a comment part. comment, comment. So when suppose you are writing hundreds of lines of code and you are using some variable name and then you are giving that code to me. How do I know that which variable it is used for? Because there are lots of variables, say 10 or 20 variables you are using, but which variables actually store which value, I don't know. So how do I know? How do I check that code? I cannot. But you can write that thing by using hash symbol in every line. So it is a good practice to maintain that particular comment. Okay. So suppose you are using A to store the DNA length. So you can write hash A is DNA length. Fine. So if you are giving me that code, I can easily understand that, okay, A is a DNA length, not a protein length. That is the purpose of commenting. So the code, when it is run, the interpreter will not check that part. It will overlook that particular line and it will directly jump to that particular, the next line. Okay. It will not read that particular line, but it will read this line and it will calculate the value. That is the logic. And I will show you different types of commenting again. Now next come to variable name. What are different rules to define the variable name? As I told you that here the variable name is A. So you can write your name as a variable name. Okay. Suppose one of you was Asif or something. And if you run this Asif, so it can store this value to us, no problem. But check if I am doing this, so what is happening? Okay. So it is showing that invalid syntax. That means this variable name is not supported. So there are some rules to be followed. So names cannot start with a number. All right. So you cannot do that. There cannot be spaces in the name. Suppose you cannot write this. Again, it will show you syntax error. Okay. But you can use underscore. So this symbol only allowed in the variable name, not this symbol. Any other symbols you will find in your keyboard, those you cannot use in the variable name. Okay. And according to the PEP 8 nomenclature practice, we should use the lowercase first, not uppercase. That is not a good practice. You can use, it will run, but try to use the lowercase letters. And you should not use the L or O or I, which are problematic, because sometimes these are confusing. L will look like 1 and the O will look like 0 kind of thing. So you should avoid this thing, and you try to avoid the special kind of words, keywords used in Python, that is list or string. We'll see what these, why these are used in the latter case, but that should not be used in variable name. Okay. And there is a problem, there is a small problem, how to calculate the taxes, because you all know to calculate the tax, income multiplied by tax rate. So if you run this, you will get to calculate the tax. This is very easy. All right. This is a small numerical problem. Any doubt, any question from here? I think this is very much easy, and you should run this. I am sharing this document, okay, and try to run this by your own. So one advantage is that Jupyter Notebook, you can run it again and again, because you see, I click on cell and then all output, then clear. All the output is clear. Okay, so I can run it again and again. So that is the advantage, and I can save this thing. Okay. Now moving forward, variable assignment. I have already done this part, first part. All right. So this is the rule. Now another thing is that dynamic typing. So what does it mean, dynamic typing? Okay. So this is the computer oriented concept, that I'm saying that one variable can be useful to store different values. So that is reassignment of that particular variable, right? So that is known as dynamic typing. So this is very much useful in Python programming, and that is the
Can you
advantage.
please repeat what is dynamic typing?
Yes. So just now I told you that one particular variable can be used to store different kinds of values. Okay, that means you are reassigning the variable, particular variable. So look at that example, so then it will be clear. So my dogs equal to 2. So which one is variable here?
My dog.
My dog. Very good. And 2 is what is the type of this data? It is, I told you that it is a type of integer, not float. Okay. Now this 2 is stored within this variable name, my dog. So if I run this, and if I run my dogs, so it is giving the output. Now how do I know that what is the type of this data, 2, whether it is an integer or float? So I can simply use type. So this is a operator type. So within that type, within the parentheses, I'm using my underscore dogs. And if I run this, it will show you that it is an integer type. Right. So if I write 0.0 and then write, then run, and then type, so I'll get float. Okay. So anyway, I'm not going to do that. Let it be. All right. Now I am saying that, okay, what are the 2 dogs? The name of the dogs are Sammy and Frankie. So those are listed using this third bracket. So this is a list. We will look at what are list and how we can use, but here is an example given. So that is a list of 2 dogs. Now if you run this, now inside that dog, my dogs variable, the name of the dogs are present. Okay. So now 2 is replaced by these 2 dots. And if you check that type of this, so it is showing that now it is a list. So the variable name is same, but the type is changed. So within the same code, you can apply the integer type of variable, integer to store that variable, particular variable, and you can store some list value to that particular variable. So that is known as dynamic typing. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Now there are certain pros and cons of this type of dynamic typing. So pros are very easy to work and faster development time, because you see you don't need to change the variable name again and again. You can use the same variable name, so it is faster. But the cons are they may result in unexpected bug. You are not aware of that, what type of variables you are using, and then you may get some unwanted problem in your code. So you should aware of this type function also, which kind of variables is it, what kind of data this variable is storing, that has to be remembered every time. So these are the problems. Now assigning variables, assignment, I have already mentioned that you need to assign something to the variable name, not vice versa. You cannot say 5 equals to a. So always a will be in the left hand side. A or any variable name will be the left hand side and right hand side the value. Okay. So similarly, you can add these things and reassigning this thing. And then, sorry. So what you are doing, if you are doing a equals to a plus 10, so let's run this once. So now you have changed this value 10. So it is showing that a plus a 10. Now reassigning this variable. So now what you are getting? 10 plus a and then a. What you are expecting? Can anyone say that? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
So what do you think? What will be the output if I am running it? A equals to a plus 10.
So 20.
Okay. So you are saying 20. Why so?
So because a is equal to 10, and then we add another 10 to it.
Very good. But I have running it 2 times, so it is problem. So let me just so check that when you are expecting something but you are getting some wrong value, so you should clear the values and then run it again. Okay, so you will get the result. In Jupyter Notebook that is a problem, so many times it is overwriting the stuffs if you are running by mistake twice or thrice, so the values will get internally changed and you cannot determine the problem, so better you run afresh. Okay, so you can do this in shorthand. You can write this the same thing as a equals plus 10. So if you write this, you will get the same result. So you are taking this 10 and you are adding that to 20. So you are getting 30. Okay, the same thing is the shorthand expression, nothing else. Similarly, you can write A star equals 2. So what will be the value?
So 30 into 2,
Right.
because now A is 30.
That means 60. Okay. Good. So next is determining the variable type with type function. So I have already told you how to do that. If you write the type, this is a keyword within the first bracket, the variable name, you will get to know what is the type of that particular variable. Now you are using A as integer, so it is showing integer. Okay. So if you are using this A equals to within parentheses 1, 2, so you will get another data type, that is okay. So we'll see what a tuple, list, dictionary in the next class. Same very exercise is given. Okay, I'm not. Any question from here? Object, variable, type. No. Okay. So then I'm yes.
I don't understand the one the program. The A asterisk is equal to 2 equal to 60. The run when it run the program, we get
Yes.
60.
Yes, this one.
Yes, sir. And the previous, the A plus is equal to 10.
Okay.
Now it
So
gets,
yes. So it is very easy to understand this. A equals to A plus 10. Okay. A equals to A plus 10. So this is written just like this syntax. A equals to plus equals 10. So that means it will take the value A, it will add 10, and then it will store the value to A variable. Okay. So the same meaning. This one and this one are same.
why we place the plus sign before the is equal to?
So that is the syntax. This is the shorthand,
Okay.
shortcut. That is the syntax.
Okay.
Plus equals. So you are changing that plus and then equal. So that is the shorthand of this operation. So it will take that value, will add that value, that particular value to that variable, and it will store that variable to the same variable. You are not changing this variable and this variable name. Okay, that's why you are doing this. This is the syntax. This is the syntax. This is the syntax same for all the operations. Okay, the symbol first and then equal symbol. Symbol first, then equal symbol. All right. So similarly, if you do this, so what you can guess? What will be the answer? So now A is 30. A is 30, na? So what is the procedure? So you take this 30 multiplied by 2. Here,
We take the previous program's variable.
right. A is not changed.
I confused there. Okay. Now I get it.
Fine. Good.
Because
Any
I
other
think that
question?
the A equals to 10 was confused. I think that is
No.
confusing.
That is the
Let me
dynamic
take the previous
typing.
variable.
Yes, that is why it is dynamic typing. Yes. A is variable, not constant. Yes. Okay. So any question? Any other question? If not, so then I am going to the last part of this class. That is
What is this tuple, bool, or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah. The next class I will discuss that. So these are different types of data types. So
Okay.
string, list, tuple, dictionary, we will discuss one by one. So today I am going to the string data type, and from the biological point of view, the strings are very much important to study. All of these things are important, but strings are quite relevant that you know what is string by default. Okay, even if you don't understand any kind of programming language, then also you know what is a string in biology, isn't it? You have worked with lots of strings. How? Because you know what is sequence. That protein sequence or DNA sequence or RNA sequence, you have already heard about that. And those sequences are nothing but a string. Okay, in programming language, this particularly in Python, the strings are actually a sequence. Okay, so that means it can keep the track of every element in the string as a sequence. What does it mean? Suppose you are saying that, okay, A, T, G, C, C, A, T, or G, A, A, T, T, C. G, A, A, T, T, C. Do you know what is the sequence used for? Anyone? I think molecular biology student can answer it.
So please come again, sir.
GAATTC. What is the sequence used for?
Study
Sir,
E. coli
it is
recognition sequence.
restriction. Yes, sir.
All right. So restriction site. So now, if I am saying that GAATTC, that means that is fixed. So this has 6 elements and starts with G, ends with C. Now, every sequence is position, right? So that position here in biology, in computer science, that is known as index. So the index starts with 0, we'll see. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So G equivalent to 0 index position. Okay, 1 T, 2 T, kind of thing. So we'll see that thing, how to create the string, printing the string, and string indexing. Again, the internet is showing unstable. I don't know whether it is working or not. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, so one by one, we check this, how we can create a string. So this is very easy to understand, that we can write a single word like this within the code. Okay. So that is a string, like this one. See, it runs. No syntax error, nothing. So suppose you can make this this GAA, sorry, what is say right now, the restriction enzyme. Okay, GAATTC. All right. Now, if I run this, what I need to do, we need to print that, and we are getting that particular restriction set. Not a innovative, it's a part side, so better. All right. So that's how we can create a string, and we can store that string to a variable. All right. Now we can use entire string, entire phrase as a string. For that, we need to give a quote, single quote, and if you run this, you get the entire phrase, including the spaces, not any. So you can use double quote as well. So the same result will come, no problem. And the double quote is important where already there is a single quote inside the phrase. So when you do some code and you need to print something, suppose you need to print this single quote. So if you are using the single quote to print this sentence within single quote, so what you will get an invalid syntax. Okay, because it is ending here, single quote ends here, and there is another single quote. So this is single invalid syntax. So how you can eliminate that error? You can use double quote there. So if you do that, it will run. You getting the point? Any question? Okay, I lost my internet again. I wanted to finish it quickly, but the internet is restricting. Sorry about that. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so is it clear? This single quote, double quote issue and how we can solve the internal single quote. I think this is very easy to understand. My internet is giving problem. Okay, I don't know whether you can hear me or not. I just complete this section. Okay, so just up to this. So here, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Is it shared?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now you can print this line. Suppose, see, here in Jupyter Notebook, I told you that even if you are not printing the statement, but you are getting the output, right? But when you are writing your own code, so better practice is to write the print statement, because you see this code can go to a Linux platform or Mac platform or any other Windows platform, any other IDE version. So there, if you are not using print, so you will not get any output. So try to make a practice of writing this print statement, even if you are using this Jupyter Notebook when you are trying to formulate some code. So if you write print hello world, if you write print use \n to print a new line, so check what you will get. So hello world 1, hello world 2, no problem. But when you use this kind of syntax, use \n to print a new line, so you can see that there is a new line appear in between use and to, these two letters, because we have used \a. Now this has to be remembered. This is very much important to remember, because when you are writing some code and you are trying to print something carefully and you need to make a new line, so you can apply \a. So you can see that there is a vacant line, blank line appear, because there is a blank line you have intentionally created by